According to the myth, Medusa was one of the most beautiful women on earth. Medusa was the daughter of Phorcys and Ceto, primordial sea gods of Greek mythology. She was born on the island of Sarpedon and had two sisters, named Astheno and Euryale. Unlike her siblings, she was mortal and therefore vulnerable to the laws of nature and the whims of the gods. Even as a child, Medusa was devoted to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare. When playing with her siblings, Medusa would pretend to be Athena, while her siblings played the villains. Their friend Ethicales, who became Medusa's boy best friend, also joined them. As they grew up, Medusa's beauty became more evident, and Ethicales fell in love with her. One day, Ethicales confessed his love to Medusa, but she refused because she wanted to become a priestess of Athena, which required her to remain pure. When Medusa came of age, she entered Athena's temple as an aspiring priestess. They were required to have good manners and conduct, with absolute purity being a major requirement. Just like the virgin and pure goddess Athena, the trials in the temple were tough, and not everyone passed. Despite the hardships, Medusa eventually became a full-fledged priestess, described as a too-perfect priestess. During rituals in Athena's temple, many devotees would watch her, and news of a beautiful priestess with shiny hair spread quickly, drawing crowds whenever Medusa performed rituals. One day, Athena decided to visit her temple and was pleased to see the multitude of people. However, she grew angry upon learning that they were there only because of Medusa. Meanwhile, on Mount Olympus, Poseidon noticed Athena's distress as she stared at one of her priestesses. Remembering their past conflict, Poseidon sought revenge on Athena by using Medusa. He spent days observing Medusa and eventually fell for her. One day, Medusa went to the seashore alone. Hearing her name, she turned to see Poseidon emerging from the waves. She tried to avoid him, but Poseidon followed and grabbed her arm. Startled, Medusa punched him in the face and ran to Athena's temple, praying before the goddess's statue. Poseidon followed Medusa into the temple, but Ethicales intervened. Poseidon knocked Ethicales unconscious and then assaulted Medusa in front of Athena's statue. Afterward, Poseidon left the temple, and when Athena found out, she hurried to the temple, discovering Medusa crying. Instead of helping her, Athena blamed Medusa for desecrating her temple and punished her. As night fell, Ethicales regained consciousness. Hearing his footsteps, Medusa hid. But when Ethicales approached and touched her shoulder, Medusa, in her fear and shock, turned him to stone with her gaze. Realizing Athena's curse, Medusa fled the temple. People who saw her screamed in fear at her snake hair, and those who met her gaze turned to stone. Word spread of a snake-haired woman terrorizing and petrifying people, prompting warriors to hunt her. However, none returned. All turned to stone. To avoid killing more people in Athens, Medusa moved to a distant, abandoned city and found an ancient temple to hide in. Warriors continued to seek her for glory, but none returned, becoming stone instead. Isolated and hunted, Medusa lost her humanity, becoming a legendary monster. Despite her unwillingness to kill, she survived by hunting animals. One day, she found an ancient bust of Athena and realized it might have been Athena's former home. Out of love for the goddess, Medusa resumed caring for the temple and worshipped Athena again. In her heavenly residence, Athena observed Medusa and felt compassion, but could not reverse the curse. During a ritual, Medusa heard footsteps and prepared to attack. She saw a warrior with a shield gifted by Zeus to Athena, polished like a mirror. Using the shield's reflection, the warrior, Perseus, beheaded Medusa. Unbeknownst to them, Medusa carried Poseidon's offspring. From her neck emerged Chrysaor and Pegasus, the winged horse, considered the purest creature because of Medusa's purity. Some believed Athena helped Perseus as revenge against Medusa, but it was actually Athena's way of freeing Medusa from her cursed life. In the end, Athena honored Medusa by placing her head on her shield, immortalizing her loyal priestess.